Promise not to swear.
There we go. That's it. We're running now.
Don't say fuck or bugger. Whoa.
Oh, did you like the spoopy intro? The super spoopy intro.
Wow. Remember, guys, that there is a Fortean themes remix with the spooky intro.
Yeah.
It does exist. It's not vaporware and it's not vaporwave.
I'll have to start playing out with the remixes.
It is, as my good friend Donnie would say, Hobbit wave.
Hobbit wave.
Yeah. Hobbit wave, yes, because that's how we describe music now. It's some sort of wave in it.
Yeah, it's wave in it, mate.
It's wave in it.
So,
wave.
This we're thumbing in a softie this week because neither we've got content, but
we're going hard and dry.
Fraser's away, so we're just going to thumb in a softie.
This is the leftovers meal. You know, there's a bit of roast beef.
The bubble and squeak of episodes.
Yeah. I do like bubble and squeak.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to take you to the calf sometime, Hobbit, the one that does bubble and squeak with the fry up.
Oh, actually, I would quite like that. Yeah, that'd be nice.
But they give you a big old chunk of nice big square of bubble and squeak. They do.
Goes well with some sausage and bacon.
It's better than those Yankee import hash browns.
You don't need hash browns. Give me fried bread, black pudding, and tomatoes, and I'm happy. Don't need mushrooms. I don't mind mushrooms, but I tell you what, the reason we're starting with food on this one is because I am Hobbit and I talk about the food.
Yeah.
But secondly, we're talking about the crap Dystopia.
Actually, if you go into the JD Elite archives, you can find me and Hobbit talking about pies for a whole episode. Do you remember Hobbit? Hemi does Hobbit. We just talked about pies. Do you remember that one?
Well, we are going to talk about one of the things in Dystopia is you get cyberpunk futures, and in cyberpunk futures you get cyborgs, which doesn't mean a man from Scotland who wears women's clothes, who also interviewed me on the entire show talking about pies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to say,
whenever I think about pies, I always think of Mrs. Miggin's Pie Shop from Blackadder 3. So see, like yeah. I'm kind of like contrarian like that. I think Blackadder 3 was the best Blackadder.
Is that the Edwardian one?
It's Georgian, isn't it? Because it's Georgian bird.
Oh, yeah. I liked the Edwardian one because I liked Queenie in it. I thought she was very...
Oh, no, Queenie was the Elizabethan. There wasn't an Edwardian one.
Yeah, that was Blackadder 2.
That was Elizabethan.
Yeah, Blackadder the second was the Elizabethan one.
Yeah. No, Blackadder the second to me was the first series of Blackadder.
No, the first series of Blackadder was like... who was it? It was...
Brian Blessed, wasn't it?
It was Brian Blessed,
so, yeah.
And then the second series was Queenie and Nursey, played by Miriam Margoyles.
And Satan and all these little demons. Do you remember the last episode?
Actually, no, I don't.
Do you not remember the last episode where they all got murdered?
What, in Blackadder the second?
Yeah, at the end of every one they get murdered.
Oh, okay. What about Blackadder the first?
I don't know about Blackadder the first because I've never watched it. But Blackadder the second, they all get murdered by the bloke that used to get bullied by Blackadder, and he's now a master of disguise. Blackadder
Oh
3.
yeah,
Blackadder 3 is the duel. Do you remember the duel where Blackadder gets shot because he'd forgot to bring his cigarello case?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then obviously Blackadder
Okay.
goes fourth. Is obvious.
Yeah, the over the top.
Yeah.
So now, Miss Miggin's pie shop aside, we were talking about pies, and the reason I'm talking about pies is because
Well,
of food.
the anecdote. Like, do you remember the French one? The one where he said he hasn't even, he's really depressed. He hasn't even touched his horse's willy. Do you remember that? That was
What's
probably the
funny?
best Mrs. Miggins joke.
What's funny about that is I be like, oh, no, this isn't talking about like. Well, this is the thing, right? I've eaten food which I thought was delicious, but other people go, "That's disgusting. How could you eat that sort of thing?" And I put it in my
You
mouth and
didn't know.
start chewing and
You
then
didn't know.
swallow. I didn't know I was eating sheep testicle soup, and then I hesitated for a bit when they told me what it was, and carried on eating because it was basically just like, you're English, given the sheep testicle soup, and
Yeah.
then I was just like, before you told me what this was, I was enjoying it, so I just carried on and thought, it's like steak and kidney pudding, but French,
Yeah.
and yeah. Anyway, I am distilled water pilled thanks to the crap dystopia, and. By the way, everything that's said in this is fiction. Hemi and I are coming up with
How did we
sci-fi
start drinking bottled water?
Well,
Does anybody know
Spring
how
Roll.
we started drinking bottled water? Because for the longest time, you used to drink water out the tap and it was fine. Pints of it. Pints and pints and pints of it.
I think what happened was Perrier was one of the first because people said, "Oh, look, it comes from this thermal spring in France, and it's good for you."
Perrier's sparkling water, isn't it? So it's still
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Okay. I'll get the point. Yeah.
So, but then later on, yeah, the idea behind bottled water was just it was real like success of marketing. I mean,
It was a
imagine
continental
selling
thing,
water.
weren't it? Have you ever heard Lewis Black talking about bottled water?
No,
He said it's really funny until Coca-Cola started selling bottled water, you could drink any amount of water you wanted, and now it has to be 1.5 liters a day.
That's it.
Yeah. He said you used to just go up to a tap, drink some water if you wanted it. He said, but now you have to drink about 1.5 liters a day.
Oh, it's more than that over in France because they sell 2-liter bottles of water. So there they're saying it is essential you drink 2 liters of water a day.
Yeah, absolutely flood your kidneys.
Like, fuck off, mate. I'll drink as much water as I want. You don't like some days I will drink a gallon, other days 2 pints. It's like it really depends on what mood I am in that day and what I've been eating. What activity I've been doing.
Do you go by the colour of your piss? If the piss is a bit orangey, you start throwing some more water down your neck. Do you buy?
No, I literally
you go on building sites and in the porta cabin, the toilets, there's literally a colour chart for wee, and they're telling you when you should drink water and when you shouldn't.
Right, so the nanny state is dictating to you like stuff like that. I really just go by, am I thirsty? Like I'm a little bit thirsty.
Well, you should go by what colour is my wee. But according to the signs in building site toilets.
Well, you know what? Like, if a urologist is really like dedicated to my urine health, they can drink my piss and tell me like what I'm lacking or what I have too much of. Because
if you are gonna drink the piss, don't do the first one of the day and do it midstream. Apparently, isn't it?
No, you should do the first one of the day because that's the most potent one. It's got all the
that's got all the garbage in it. That's why you're not supposed to drink the first one of the day.
No. We're trying to sell this stuff, right? It's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave. Rondo, the first mutilator.
Yeah.
I'm getting thirsty talk, but anyway, I have got
again Blackadder. Do you remember the Blackadder? You know, we drink when they have to drink their own piss. Oh, the captain's been drinking it. The captain's been drinking it before we left port. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
Tom, what's his name? Tom Baker, the Doctor Who, isn't it?
I just remember that they were giving it to the Queen, and she was drinking it, and just the look on her face, like, oh, it's interesting. Thank you, Blackadder. And I'm talking about water and piss because, well, not piss, but that was Hemi. But the reason being is I have said, right, In this dystopic fiction that I'm writing, imagine like a country, let's call it Albionshire, and it's ruled by a dirty brown goblin. Yeah, goblin. And his name's Shavid Javid. And Shavid Javid has said, we're going to put poison into your water for your teeth. And nobody is allowed to question him, because if you do, you're called anti-goblinist. And you hate him for the colour of his dirty, filthy, poisonous skin. So Shavid Javid in Albionshire is the health secretary, and he said, yeah, we're going to put, for your teeth, we're going to put poison in the water. And so, like, I decided, all right, to do method writing for this thing, what if I got a water distiller in real life, not Minecraft, and started drinking distilled water? And then I drank it, and I was just like, I've drunk this before. And not like the few times when I've been in the laboratory and it's like, right, I'm having some of that distilled water. And then the look of horror on teachers' and technicians' faces as I consume it, it's like, oh, you really shouldn't do that. What if, like, it will leach all the minerals from your body and you'll shrivel up and die? I'm still here. I've drunk this before in Malta, because over there it's cheaper to distill the water than it is to ship water from overseas. So if you go to Malta and you're getting the water, your water you're drinking is from the Mediterranean Sea and it's been distilled, so there's no salt in it. And I don't know why.
What kind of arcane equipment do you need to distill your water then, Hobbit?
So what you need is God. And then God shines his sunlight on the sea, and it evaporates into clouds and it rains down. That's like the easiest way of getting distilled water. But if you have electric and stuff like that, what you basically got is a large kettle, and on the top of the large kettle, you've got a Peltier element. Peltier element is like a solid state fridge. And what that does is, so you got your steam at the top, and you got your Peltier element. The Peltier element's cold, so the steam condenses on it, and then the condensate runs off into a collection jar, and then you drink the condensate. I wouldn't advise drinking rainwater in real life, because yes, it is distilled. However, when it falls through the atmosphere, you've got diesel particulates, you've got aluminium. There's a lot of aluminium in this dystopia.
That's aluminum for our American listeners.
Yes, and you've got all other sort of dust and nasty part. If you drink rainwater, you'll probably be all right. You might get the shits. I can't vouch for it.
Do you remember acid rain in the 90s, Hobbit? Whatever happened to acid rain?
Well, that was the thing. Acid rain in our countries, funny enough, Alex Jones has explained this. Acid rain, the sulfur dioxide released when you burn coal gets turned into sulfuric acid when it gets into the clouds and rains down. So the way they figured out how to deal with this is they spray water into the smokestacks, chimneys of power stations. And they know that because they know from refining phosphorus, it's very toxic, and it kills all vegetation around it and livestock. They have to spray all the fumes that come out. So the fumes turn into a liquid, and then you've got liquid toxic waste. So what happened to acid rain in our countries is we turned it.
Well, it wasn't really us. It was the Norwegians had a problem with it, didn't they? Because it was killing their forests, wasn't it?
Well, either way, us in the civilized world decided that, you know what, this isn't a benefit. We don't really care so much about the Scandinavians. The fact is, some of this does rain down on us, and it's not healthy for the people living around it. We're going to just put these scrubbers into power stations to improve the pollution. So that was done in what?
So you're basically saying that we don't need to mothball all of these coal-fired power stations then?
Well, according to the parasites that be, yes, we do, because carbon dioxide, the thing that plants breathe, one of the 4 pillars of life, along with oxygen, water, and sunlight, is absolutely poisonous, and we need to remove all traces of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere right this instant.
Won't that kill plants, or is that just me? Or am I just being like a Luddite that wants babies to die?
Well, you would. Now, the thing is, now, some of us might say, yeah, but if you get rid of all the carbon dioxide, the plants will die, and then when the plants die, we will suffocate and die. But you've got to realise just how much you'll upset Greta Thunberg if you were to say such a thing. So we have to get to net carbon neutral by 2030.
Well, I was told on a Carlsberg advert that you can reduce that carbon's the problem, literal just carbon.
Well, we're the carbon they want to reduce.
Carbon with carbon life forms. Is that what they mean? They want to get rid of carbon life forms.
Well, that's why I thought it was very interesting. The move from carbon dioxide, which too many people, I guess, are saying that. Well, hang on, that's what plants crave. It's literally what they breathe.
Is this like climate change? Is it where they have to keep shifting the goalpost to try and make their fake narrative appear real?
That's why they had to stop calling it global warming. But I keep using the idiocracy thing of because they drink Brawndo in it, which is like Gatorade, and it's got electrolytes, what plants crave.
It's absolutely not great Gatorade, Hobbit. It's a completely different product.
Oh, okay. Well, so carbon dioxide got rebranded as carbon, and now when they say they want to reduce carbon, basically that means they just want to reduce people. But
they want to reduce carbon. Carbon is people. As
just remember,
to paraphrase Charlton Heston from
carbon is people. Yes.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, Hemi and I, we are deeply immersed in so if anything of this sounds like real life, that's purely coincidental and it's got no relationship to that. Basically, that disclaimer you see in a movie saying this is a work of fiction, any resemblance
to persons
living or dead.
Living or dead is purely coincidental.
Yeah. So if we're talking about like Savage Javid, the evil brown
but have you ever noticed they also
goblin,
say that on biopics?
Do they?
I'm pretty sure they do.
A biopic's a film about somebody.
Yeah.
Then just to cover themselves because they make shit up as they go along. They say it's any coincident, any relation to real life.
This is the real conspiracy for you. Biopics aren't real. Some characters, situations, dates are all switched around just for narrative effect.
Some films, like Schindler's List, are a work of fiction and not a documentary. They're not found footage documentaries. I know this makeup, but you see, this is the thing, right? For example, what we're talking about now, it may sound like, oh, you're just talking about real life. No, we're not. We're talking
about a biopic. We're talking about a biopic of Hemi and Hobbit.
Yeah, so me talking about drinking distilled water and saying it's really good for you, well, in the biopic it is, but you don't know in real life if it's good for you or not.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can't be held liable if you go and kill yourself because you just drowned in a bunch of water, distilled or not. No.
Harvey Loves Mummy's Milk says it's almost like life is trapped in the coal and we're releasing it into the world to thrive.
We now if you talk
Sing Chocolate Rain, Hobbit, says Marco Coletti Spaghetti.
Oh God, no. The reason I said, because Hemi said, oh, what should we talk about tonight? I said, well, we can definitely talk about Soylent Green, but I have been my good friend Fremen on the Sand has been playing Deus Ex.
Is that your good friend Fremen on the Sand that appeared in a racist comment section?
Well, he's anti-Semitic, my good friend Fremen on the Sand, because he notices things like in the toy factories they had swimming pools and orchestras. Doesn't sound very Christmassy. Ho ho ho. Yeah. He's a good man, that Fremen on the Sand, but he has been playing Deus Ex. And I am aware of Deus Ex because there's some interesting things in it. So the main plot behind Deus Ex is there's a disease and it's called the Grey Death. And if you get it, you're going to die. That's the Grey Death. Now, some suspect the reason it's called the Grey Death is, well, it makes people grey that have got it.
Is that a bit like the what's the thing from Game of Thrones where they turn to stone? That one.
Yeah, that's the grey death as well, I think. Someone
Yeah.
in the chat who read that shit, tell me what it is, because
Yeah.
I don't like the fat turds writing. I try like a
Well,
friend
don't
who's
worry
really
about it
into the
because you won't be
show.
seeing any more of it. He's not finishing that fucking book anytime soon.
He'll finish a dump before he finishes the next book.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine, she was really into it, and I tried reading the first one, and like 2 days later, I said, "Yeah, you can have this back. I'm just going to watch the show."
Yeah.
I said it's bad. I don't like it. It's like
Is it like bad Is it like
never
bad
mind.
fanfic?
It's just like I can like the diabetes is steeped into every page.
He's also a feminist, isn't he?
Wow. What, I'm not surprised. So
Yeah.
Deus Ex, Grey Death. The Grey Death is nanomachines, the robots inside people, like converting their body into stuff, which works a lot like cancer, and it kills them. It's painful, but not to worry because VersaLife, not Pfizer, VersaLife, they have got a cure for
Not
it called
first alive.
ambrosia.
Not first alive of it.
Yeah. Not so. VersaLife, who now I'm just going to check because I want to talk about ambrosia, which is the cure for Grey Death. It's not a cure, sorry, it's a treatment. So then if I go ambrosia, right? I want to say it
You
gives
mean a bit
48 hours.
like that the Chris Rock sketch where he talks about how big pharma is basically drug pushers, because they said like they don't cure stuff anymore, they just treat it. So it's like he said like in the future it will be, oh no, my AIDS is acting up today, I'll just get some Robitussin AIDS relief.
Well, yeah. Right. So ambrosia in it, I was right. It gives you 48 hours immunity to the Grey Death virus, and then after the 48 hours, you got to get your booster shot.
You clot
So
shot.
yeah. You got to get your ambrosia booster.
Yeah.
So what's funny about this is, as you uncover later on in the game, spoilers, the game was released in 2000, so if you don't, you could have played it by now.
Yeah.
Or you can watch my good friend Fremen on the Sand get to that stage, because he's currently in Hong Kong where the VersaLife factory is. Turns out that the reason VersaLife have got the antidote for the Grey Death is because they
create the Grey Death.
Death. Yeah. So the reason I find it ironic is this thing was released in 2000, and it's like you go to the Wan Chai wet market, and it's like this is where the Grey Death was first encountered.
You're joking.
I'm not joking. So you got the VersaLife biowarfare laboratory right next to the Wan Chai wet market, and you find out so this is where ambrosia's made,
Yeah.
and this is where the Grey Death is made, and then of course you got like the Illuminati, you got Majestic 12, you got Men in Black, and you got all those other good conspiracy theories, and there's books you can pick up in the game. So of course there's The Man Who Was Tuesday, which has a lot of similar themes to Deus Ex, despite being written over 100 years prior to 2000. When was the Man Who Was Tuesday written? Let me just find out.
Oh, is that an actual book?
Yes, by G.K. Chesterton. Man Who Was
Okay.
It was either The Man Who Was Tuesday or The Man Who Was Thursday. I always get The Man Who Was Thursday. There we go.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be Tuesday's not really a sexy day of the week, is it?
The Man Who Was Thursday, A Nightmare, is a 1908 novel by G.K. Chesterton. It's described as a metaphysical thriller. It is it kind of is a bit cyberpunk dystopia, but despite being set in 1908. And it's I first read excerpts of this in the game in 2000 on a CRT monitor with the eye strain and all that. And then it took me another 16 years to go.
Oh, Fire Ray says one thing about Majestic 12 is every nation or continent is dealt with differently. Europe's put under martial law. China is a willing participant. Hong Kong is taken over by triads.
Oh yeah, that's in Deus Ex. He's right there. And America as well. America comes under control of a extra legal, extra governmental organization called UNATCO, which is the United Nations Anti-Terrorist Task Force. So
that sounds like something from a Jerry Anderson movie, a Jerry Anderson series. Then,
yeah, actually it does.
Captain Scarlet was in that, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah. He was Agent JC Denton. It's I just find it very interesting that this thing from that's it. I wanted to finish a point. Yes, in 2016, I finally did read The Man Who Was Thursday a Nightmare, and I was like, wow, why didn't I read this sooner? It's actually really good. I got most of my reading done by about 2010, and then after that, I was just like, I ought to be working now.
Yeah, I need to get back on with my reading. I've got quite a few books to get through. I've bought Who Goes There, but I started it that long ago. I've actually forgotten what has happened so far, so I think I might have to start that again. Who Goes There is the book that Thing's based on.
Yes, I'm aware of that. So I'm going to read a bit of blurb here in Deus Ex because
I also bought 1984. I know it's a bit cliche, but I think I'm going to read that as well.
Yeah, that's worth reading because it tells a lot of the English psychology.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this blurb because I can't just touch on Majestic 12 and Illuminati in Deus Ex. So, during the mid-20th century, the Illuminati leadership realized it would need to control both financial matters and technology. To this end, they created two new branches of the Illuminati, the Bilderberg Group and Majestic 12. The establishment of Majestic 12 dates back to the year 1947. During this year, UFO, or UAP.
Do you not find it a bit weird that the Bilderberg used to be this like secret thing, and now it's kind of we've been drip fed about its existence, and now it's kind of accepted as a meeting that goes on during the year in the calendar?
Well, it's still secret. Like nobody knows what the meetings are from the Bilderberg Group, but
yeah,
it's like but
it's kind of covered on mainstream TV news and things like that, isn't it? You get your weirdos trying to get in there. They cover all that kind of stuff, don't they?
Well, the thing is, they kind of sort of dismiss it as just it's just
rich people having a laugh. Don't look at that.
They're just having like caviar and having a little chin wag about the way things.
They're just having caviar and bumming kids. You know the way they do.
Policy for the next 20 years and the agenda of what's going to happen. None of that's discussed there, and if it is, it's no relation to real world.
Oh, Ray says, was it better or worse than Neuromancer? Is Neuromancer a game or a book by G.K. Chesterton?
It's a story, and it's also a game. I think Cyberpunk had something to do with Neuromancer. Don't quote me on that. Because of course, all these bits of Cyberpunk, Hemi and I are going to be researching for our own dystopia. But shall we tell them the working theory of what our dystopia, this global conspiracy dystopic thing we got? We're going to call it a near sci-fi. I don't like near.
It's one of many possible futures, isn't it, Hobbit?
I think they call near sci-fi like contemporary fiction or something like that, like speculative fiction. Yeah, I don't really like. I'd much rather deal with like sci-fi in the far future, like Dune or Star Trek. But...
Yeah, why don't we have like Snake Plissken? Because I listened to Myth of the 20th Century, and they were talking about Escape from New York, which is set in 1997, the far-flung future of 1997.
Yes. Have you seen the deleted scene where the reason Snake Plissken gets arrested is
because he nicks a load of blank credit cards? That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not how credit cards work, mate, but never mind.
It's how quaint. How quaint that's how John Carpenter thought credit cards worked.
Yeah. Well,
you can though, because you can clone them, can't you? You can clone them and use them in
I don't know.
Yeah, honestly. I think you can clone blank credit card. I think you could use them.
It's one of those deleted things where I go, oh yeah, you know what? I'm glad they could remove that from the film. The film's better without this scene in it. So
I
let's.
think it's quite nice having that. I quite like having a hero that's an enigma. They're like a force of
Just
nature.
come up with a very interesting fiction plot. He says, "My idea of a dystopian future is having to work forever in my grandma Towler factory." Yeah, that's a fate worse than death.
Yeah.
So is like the rough treatment that Hemi and I have come up with for a. I'm just going to read, and you can correct me if I've got anything wrong so far.
Yeah.
But so picture the scene, right? It's 2019. And we're going to be ripping a lot from Deus Ex now. We've got a VersaLife building, which we're not going to call Versa. We'll call it like Ping Pong Ching Chong.
We'll call it Tizer.
Yeah, and it's not the Grey Death. We're going to call it Corona-chan. And Corona-chan.
We're going to call it Corona Lemonade. We're just going to swap everything for lemonade.
That's it.
Yeah,
and it gets released into the Wan Chai meat market. Now that's a working title. We might rename Wan Chai meat market to something else, wet market. And then they say, oh yeah, because people are eating pangolin soup in Wan Chai, that's why you've now got Corona Lemonade.
Yeah, but the thing is, in this dystopic future, though, would you put it past Chinese, the fictional Nippon? I'm trying to think of I can't think. Would you put it beyond what's his name, Fu Manchu, to take meat from a tested meat that had been used for experiments in a laboratory and just sell it for food on a wet market?
Well, yeah, you could do that, or you could have like actual like Men in Black, and this is the bit which I'm still not sure. Like maybe even multiple points, or you could say like, yeah, the Men in Black actually sprayed people with the disease. They put it on the meat, but then they also said that the contaminated meat from the lab was sold in the market because some technician was looking to make a few extra credits.
Yeah, that really wouldn't surprise me about this fictional Oriental races of people.
So now later on in this, right? So the virus has got out, and we're not even sure if it should be an actual virus or if it's just like, no, that was all just like a red herring, and that's gonna like dupe the reader, because later on you realize like the year's 2020 and people's like, hang on, is this even a real virus? Because all the media in this, which is controlled by Majestic 12, is going like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah, but you've got the plot twist, Hobbit, where the media actually go, oh yeah, it really did escape from the lab. When we called you liars and conspiracy theorists, we were only joking, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I haven't got my notes in front of me, you see, so I can't remember all the plot points, but I'm just remembering like a brief like summary. So the virus gets out, or it doesn't get out. It's up to the reader to decide on that one. It's always left a bit vague, that open to interpretation. And then, like, the governments all around the world have the same agenda. That's like saying, wear masks to avoid the Grey Death. Again, working to, we're going to call it Corona Lemonade, aren't we? Yeah. We can't just call it the Grey Death because we'll get sued by the creators, Ironstorm, who made Deus Ex.
Corona Lemonade, as far as I know, don't exist anymore, so we can call it Corona Lemonade.
Yeah. And that we're going to, like, say, because I thought, like, a booster which only lasts 48 hours is going to be a bit improbable. So what we're going to do is we're first going to say to people, you've got to get 2 doses of a vaccine for Corona Lemonade. And they'll go with that.
You've got to get 2 doses of Blue Panda Pop.
Yeah, it's like, you're saying that, but okay, yeah, well, that makes sense, because, like, in the real world, people have injections for flu, and they say that makes them feel better. So we'll do it that way. But you got to have 2 of them, because it's, like, twice as serious. And then it comes on later on, it's like, oh, actually, no, the virus is still going on, despite people wearing masks and everything. So,
but they wear the masks even though you know for a fact that the virus is way smaller than a mask.
Yeah, we'll ignore the fact that the masks don't do anything, because it makes people feel better, right?
Yeah,
and it goes that showing that they're going along and they're obeying, and if you're not obeying, then you're naughty and a heretic and should be arrested. And
then it'd be a bit like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where he goes, ooh. You've seen that,
Yeah,
haven't you?
that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
then we say like, okay, you got to have your boosters, but the thing is, the boosters, right? There's no end in sight to them. But you couldn't just sell it to people straight away, saying like, there's no end to boosters. So that's the thing, which I think our story
Well,
is going
then
to be
you have to
better.
have a new Panda Pop variant. So you have like Diet
Yeah,
Panda Pop comes out, and then you have
cherry aid,
Cherry
the
Panda
green,
Pop. Yeah,
the green one,
Vanilla Panda
blue,
Pop.
blue raspberry, cream
Yeah,
soda panda pop. That's a good
yeah,
one.
yeah,
I liked that one. Yeah, so the thing is, instead of every 48 hours, which is just going to be like unfeasible,
yeah,
I think it'd be better to be like every 6 to 9 months. And if you don't buy the Panda Pop, like, you're saying, oh, I think I'll just stick to Coca-Cola or something, then you're going to get fines.
yeah.
And if you don't pay the fines, you'll get put in prison, because it's for your health and safety. Now, bear with me. I'm not sure how to like end this story, because it just seems like, well, no one's going to go with that. And then what's the end game? Where you're putting people in prison because they're not buying your brand of Panda Pops. And
Yeah.
so, like I said, it's something that Hemi and I are working on, and we're going to pitch it to the BBC or Channel 4,
Yeah.
and we're going to put loads of diversity in it. So
Yeah.
we demand like half of the cast have to be disabled, black, wheelchair-bound lesbians, pygmies.
Yeah.
Because I think it's funny.
Yeah. So, this is another part of the dystopia we have to live in. Why are you not allowed caramel anymore? Why does it have to be salted caramel now in everything?
Yes, that's the personal. No, that's the personal how you live in. You're not allowed to have. You can't just have sweet without salt.
Yeah.
Everywhere where you go, it's like
You're not allowed to enjoy desserts. You're not allowed to enjoy them. That's why you must have the salt in them.
you're just about to tuck into a Mars bar, and like a pigeon. No, not pigeon. Not a seagull. It doesn't come to nick out all your thing. It just rips open a packet of salt over your Mars bar, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got salt all over my Mars bar now. It's like,
Yeah.
you eat your Snickers, or you got like, oh, it's lovely cake from your mum, and it's got fruit in it, and you bite into the fruit.
That's
It's
another
like,
part of this dystopia I was going to mention. It's gonna what you're going to have is you're going to have meat, and you're going to have vegetarian products, but no one wants to buy the vegetarian products. So what they do is they put them in 99% the same packaging. So you're going around the supermarket, you see the packaging that you pick it up, and then you get home, and then you find out that it's not what you.
Yeah, and you'd see the bit which
be.
in our fictional, like speculative fiction thing we're doing here, we base that on Aldi. Aldi, like if you buy Aldi McVitie's digestive biscuits and McVitie's digestive biscuits, they look the same, and they do actually taste the same.
Well, they look similar. They look similar, but the bonus is if you pick up the Aldi ones, they're a lot cheaper and they taste exactly the same.
Well, that's it. Yeah, just like the Jaffa cakes and I can't believe it's not penguin, it's seal bars. seal bars. I bought some of those the other day to have with some coffee, and like you bite a corner out of each end.
I don't like. You see, they've even ruined penguin bars now. Have you noticed how nutty penguin bars taste?
Really? I haven't had penguin since
buy a pack of genuine penguins, and they just taste really nutty. It's like, oh fuck! If I wanted a packet of peanuts, I'd buy them. If like I'm not buying penguin for nutty taste. I want to taste chocolate.
Yeah, and you want the cocoa cream in the middle.
Because did you?
Now, isn't it?
What's that?
All chocolate's hazelnut now, pretty much.
Yeah. Because I don't know whether you know, but a penguin is actually a bourbon covered in chocolate.
That's right. It's a chocolate-covered bourbon biscuit.
Yeah.
And you don't need nuts in a bourbon biscuit. Yeah. Off license says, what's the good food at Aldi? The meats. Meat's good.
They do root beer in Aldi now.
Oh, yeah, but it's got all the artificial sweeteners and stuff, which got that nasty bitter aftertaste to it.
Mm.
I like the meat. The cheese is good. The yogurt is good. I do buy veggies from there.
Why don't penguins eat polar bears? I think that's supposed to be the other way around.
My dad always said that he think it'd be really funny if he introduced a colony of penguins to like the South Pole, because then the polar bears would be really happy.
Yeah, but he'd get shot if he went anywhere near the South Pole.
No, that's it. Polar bears live in the South Pole. Penguins live in the North. Yeah, but he doesn't know that you're not allowed to go to the South Pole.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, in this dystopia, we got that. We got the food, which looks like food, but it's not really food. That's from Soylent Green.
Yeah.
And it uses the
You'll
Aldi
lick
marketing.
the stolen jam spoon and enjoy it.
Yeah, and we use the Aldi deceptive marketing tactics of saying, "I can't believe it's not sausage." No, really.
Yeah.
Instead
of that, it'll be I can't believe it's not sausage in a micro dot on the eye. I think they're the marketing tactics we need to start getting used to.
Yeah, it's bad, and I've fallen victim to it once. I bought a vegan pizza, and I'm just like, mate, pizza's already vegetarian. Why do you have to remove the cheese and the tomato?
I bought a big,
bread?
bought a jumbo pack of Richmondos from Costco, and they turned out to be to be vegetarian.
Like Richmond sausages.
Yeah.
So Richmondos is like a sort of like what fancy version of Richmond's?
No, they're just a bunch of Richmondo was a nickname we used to have for a certain person that we don't talk about anymore because he had to go away. Yeah. So it's Richmond's. It's Richmond's, but they're the vegan ones. But what they've done is they've made the packaging 99% the same, so you can quite easily pick up the wrong packet of sausages.
So, this is why I mentioned Deus Ex, because I was just thinking to myself, how would I make like a Deus Ex for the modern era where we still got cyborgs, but the cyborgs are a bit different. And this was another thing I wanted to talk about. In Deus Ex, the agents, all these cyborg agents, they've got kill switches in them, and so there's the old style cyborgs which have got mechanical implants, and if you say the kill phrase to them, they explode. Whereas the new cyborg agents, which have got, like Seven of Nine in Star Trek Voyager, with like you can tell she's a cyborg,
Got big tits,
human. Because she's got nanomachines inside her.
Oh, has she? Is she a new Borg then? Is she?
Well, no, she's Borg, but they took away a lot of the prosthetics. So it's just it was actually quite easy for the makeup department. It's just basically Jerry Ryan's got nice big tits. Yeah, just put this little goo on her face, and it's like right. That way, people know she used to be a Borg, but she's not now.
Wasn't there something to do with the Klingons in the new Trek as well, where like the Klingons are really naff now, aren't they, or something?
Oh, that's not Star Trek, so it doesn't count.
Kurtzman Trek. I believe the nerds call it Kurtzman Trek. They refuse to call it Star Trek.
Thing after 2003 doesn't exist in regards to Star Trek.
Well, that's because it's Kurtzman Trek.
You know how like they like the Richmondo sausages, which are vegan, or when I buy a vegan pizza, it's like it might say pizza or meat pie or sausage roll, or something like that, but it's not. It's like
and then round the back next to an asterisk, it says not really.
Yeah, and it's like they should put an asterisk on things like Star Wars, Star Trek, RoboCop.
Well, this is it. They drag you in. They drag you in with the member berries, and then they go, not really. We can fuck this up.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, and they had that with the Star Trek, where it's like, hey, it's Star Trek Discovery. It's got Christopher Pike in it. Not really. Yeah. Oh, you didn't like it? Well, look, Star Trek Picard. Picard was good, right? People like Picard. Not really. It's like it's got the actor Patrick Stewart in it, but it's not Jean-Luc Picard.
Did you ever watch when you count the stuff that doesn't count as Star Trek? Do you include Enterprise? I've never watched a single episode of Enterprise.
Is it
any good? Yeah, is it?
I know there's the weird fucky stuff with the Time War, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
If you ignore all of that stuff and like the character development, it is Star Trek. The pacing and the
I quite like Scott Bakula's usually quite good in whatever he does. He always does his best
he was
with
good in it, and the Doctor in it was really good as well. I mean, whoever that actor is a really nice guy, and I like. He's the sort of guy like if he was in a campfire, he's just like, well, I brought my guitar with me, and I hope you like these muffins I've made, and I'm just going to sing you a song about lesbian seagull. It's just really nice.
Off license said, yeah, the Discovery Klingons look like. I believe the correct name for it is Star Trek STD because it's very much what the series is like.
Ray says it's good if you ignore all the stuff that's bad. You know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna rewatch Star Trek Enterprise, Ray, and I'm gonna tell you whether it's good or bad. I will tell you, I did not like the theme tune.
The Discovery Klingons look like walking onion barges, apparently. Well, apparently it's tanking that badly that it's no longer on. I think was it on Hulu or something? It's no longer on that. It's now on something called Pluto TV, which is like absolutely buckshy. Like nobody pays for it.
Oh, so is that like Z-list sci-fi channel?
Probably not even that good.
Yeah. So nanomachines and the kill switches in Deus Ex. We will get back onto this tangent you brought me on thing.
Yeah.
They don't have them in as the chat mentioned in the prequel sequels, but they do have them in the one set in the year 2079 AD, Anno Domini.
Or is that BCE? No. Is it CE? Christian era.
Yeah, CE stands for Christian era, as it was pointed out to me. So I'm all right with CE now. I just understand that it stands for Christian era. Now, they all have kill switches in, and the new agents, that's why we're talking about Star Trek, because I was trying to explain to you who's never played Deus Ex, what the new cyborgs look like.
So does Deus Ex borrow from a load of shit, or does a load of shit borrow from Deus Ex? Because Agents obviously sounds very, very Matrixy, doesn't it?
Well, this was released in the year 2000, and Matrix was 1997. So, I think if anything, it would probably have borrowed more from Cyberpunk, the pen and paper game. Although Cyberpunk was a lot more about cool, whereas this was more like you're a detective. But you're a detective who's got nano augmentation, so
Detective Jake Bullets.
Yeah,
Cybernautics Division. That probably means traffic. You remember that one from Red Dwarf?
Deus Ex borrows from all the most common conspiracy theories except one. That's true.
The
Warren Spector and the other guy, Ironstorm, is an elf. They're both elves.
Yeah.
And they hate Jesus and Santa. Now, so they have kill switches in them. And the reason I want to mention this is because this was actually an element in the Dystopia Hemi and I are writing, right? The kill switch in them is the nanomachines activate and they get a disease similar to the Grey Death, except it kills them in 24 hours. The nanomachines start eating their body and like an aggressive cancer.
Yeah.
And whereas the older mechanical agents, their kill switch was instant. It's just like their power cells overload, and like a Tesla car when it crashes, it just immediately bursts into flames. And because it's a lithium fire, you can't put it out with water, you can't put it out with carbon dioxide, you can't put it out. You just have to wait for it to burn, and then you have to repave the road because it's melted away all the tarmac.
And the car.
It can take up to like 10 days for it to burn all the way through because the lithium.
So I do have to ask this question. You probably don't know it, Hobbit. But do you get the do you get your insurance payout on the crash, or do you have to wait the 10 days for it to burn out to see what the damage is before you can get your payout from the insurance?
You know what? That's something worth like asking an insurer and just saying like, if let's say I got an electric car and it's on fire, and the fire brigade says, well, we can't do anything we have to let it burn out. Do I make the claim once it's burned out or now when it's burning? Clint Eastwood and Dawes mentions the neuropazine situation in the Neo Deus Ex mirrors the boost shots perfectly. That's right. The Neo Deus Ex is quite interesting in terms of transhumanism. I will get back to that. Remind me, Clint Eastwood and Dawes.
Yeah.
But the kill switch, it's activated by this thing. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? You remember, well, neither of us were alive for it, but we've all seen the propaganda about how great asbestos is, and it's the miracle substance, and it's brilliant. And,
well, I've said this on a podcast many times before, but the Romans used to use them as napkins because they'd then throw it in the fire to
Yeah, and
clean
you
it.
could literally you can make a suit out of asbestos, and someone could be like torching you with a flamethrower, and you won't get cooked because like the asbestos is just wicking away all that heat.
Also damp proof. So like if you're going around a school or something and you want to know if the roofs and you see some leaking, like some of the water damaged tiles, if they're not sagging, the chances are they're probably asbestos tile
Well, just
in the roof.
when you've got an electrical fire, you use carbon dioxide, or you can use halon gas, not halogens. Halogens are very reactive. Chlorine, fluorine, iodine, bromine. Those are all the halogens.
Isn't that stuff where if you're in like some computer labs, if you accidentally set off the fire alarm, it actually shuts off all the air and you get halon gas dumped on you and you die.
Well, the alternative is like if they don't use halon gas now because I think of the chlorofluorocarbons, but what they'll do is they'll vent all the atmosphere in the air and replace it either with carbon dioxide or nitrogen so that the fire goes out because there's no oxygen for it to breathe. But if you've got like a car that's on fire, I mean, you could probably build a sarcophagus around it and fill it with carbon dioxide, and then the fire will go out. But because it's so hot, it will continue to burn anyway. Even without anything to combust, it will still be burning. Like the sun doesn't have oxygen, but it burns because it's a ball of fire. And like also like thermite, like that's a point. There's aluminium in the Tesla chassis, so that would burn.
Yeah.
So this is why it just burns for like days on end, like up to 10 days, I think was the longest. But the reason I mention that, kill switches, right, asbestos. Now, we've got this modern miracle substance in our world called graphene. And graphene, they've been talking about since the 1980s when it was first discovered. And it's incredible. I've even seen a video on YouTube. I think it was, of all people, Linus Tech Tips, and they were talking about like, could you use graphene as a thermal transfer
launch it into space,
or...
Hobbit. I think he's talking about the but you've got to put it in a rocket to get it up there.
Right. Yes, launch burning car wrecks into space. That's what they needed to do.
Yeah.
They were using a sheet of graphene.
Shouldn't off-license as a regular listener already know that space doesn't exist?
Well, go to Anchor FM, where all the podcasts are, and listen to episode 77.
Yeah.
And you can go on the process of discovery like I did on that episode, because I thought this will be a very easy topic to discuss and say, here's the curvature of the Earth. Right, moving on.
Yeah, let's not relitigate that because my God, did some people get upset and
that's
triggered?
A wound which doesn't need reopening. Yeah.
That's just like a large gash that's kind of gone green and full of maggots that you really don't want to look at.
You know what? It's something that needed to be put down, and I'm glad that's laid to rest. We never have to discuss it again. So,
Fraser's going to talk about it at some point.
Miracle wonder substance, right? It's brilliant. Thermal transfer compound. It exists in real life. If you watch, I'm pretty sure it's Linus Tech Tips, graphene. There's a video of one of them, right? And they're holding it in their fingers, and they're cutting through an ice cube with it, because they explain that all the heat from their fingers is transferred to this like molecule fine cutting edge, and it's like hot knife through butter. And now, I understand a bit about sharpening knives, that the finer you make the edge...
They will go through bone like butter.
Yeah, the finer you make the edge, the more it can slice through stuff.
Yeah.
So, and the thing about graphene is it's also very flexible, so you could make tiny little bits of it, like tiny, like razor-sharp bits of sheets of it, and you could inject it into people... And then, because the graphene is magnetically activated, the magnet could make the razor blade unfurl, and then it would cut into people's veins, which would cause them blood clots. And then, like, the more activity they do, like the more stuff with the muscles and stuff, then the more the blood is going to flow, the more clots that happen, and then you've got people collapsing. If this is happening in real life, like with Premiership footballers and basketballers and other athletes that do stuff that make the blood go pumping,
Graphene already comes with a particulate health warning of it.
It's that now. That's just complete coincidence. So again, if this stuff is happening in real life, it's complete coincidence.
Graphene is also electrically conductive.
Yeah, we're just talking about
a dystopic fiction.
A dystopic fiction that we're going to write, and we're trying to pitch to Channel 4 BBC. In the 90s, Channel 4 and BBC.
Can we have Idris Elba in it?
Yeah, Idris Elba could be in it. Yeah, he's going to be the magic Negro what manages to find a cure.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be showing isn't
he going to be our dogged gumshoe hero?
Yeah, he's going to be like, look, I'm actually an eccentric genius, and I like listening to James Brown and.
We've got to have Tessa Thompson as well because everyone loves her.
We'll have a montage where they're doing stuff on the blackboard, and they're doing science, and the montage, and they're playing James Brown music, and to show you it's all upbeat, and then he picks up the vial with the green fluid in it. It's like the cure. And then the evil white man's trying to kill him because he's just trying to, help the world, and
he's just trying to build their lives, isn't
he? Yeah. The cure is watermelonium.
Melanazine.
Sorry, melanazine. Watermelonium. Yeah.
Jessica Alden and Grape Drank.
Yeah, Grape Drank. Yeah. So again, I'm not sure how this is going to end, but I'm thinking anybody that's not drinking Panda Pops is going to end up in camps, and because this one, how hyper-capitalist dystopic futures are, right? Phil can help on this bit, talking about how evil capitalism is, right?
Yeah,
we're going to have those in. We're going to have to come up with some fictitious name for Australia. They get sent to
the Democratic People's Republic of Oceania.
Yeah, there we go.
Because that sounds a little bit futuristic as well.
Yeah, and they get sent to concentrated soda camps where they have to pay 2,500 credits.
Orange juice from concentrate camps.
Yeah, that's it. And they because they refuse to have the Panda Pops, and they have to pay 2,500 credits a week to stay there. And if they haven't got the money, it's okay because they can work in the factories in the camps making the Panda Pops for everybody else that wants to drink Panda Pops.
Yeah,
and I think this would be pretty good, Dry. I think it'll be like an.
Oh no, I think reality's beat us to this one. Off license said the reports of internment camps true.
Well, again. We're just talking about a speculative fiction, which we wouldn't have.
Hasn't Australia got to have an evil PM? We could have a name called Jackie Amden or something, and she looks a bit like a horse.
Yes, because she's been part of a secret breeding program to hybridize
horses and people.
Horses, yeah, because they'll be they'll have the stamina to oppress people.
Yeah.
And But you see, in my dystopic future, I wouldn't have the army trucks going rounding people up because that's a bit too played out. It's a bit Schindler's Listy, which I thought was a bit
it's a bit it's cliche, Hobbit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cliche. So I thought what would be better, right, is if we had a company, and I'm not going to call them Amazon or eBay because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
What have we called them?
Ambay.
DoorDash as on.
Could call them Ambay, wouldn't we?
Ambay, yeah. So Ambay, the Ambay drones come and pick you up because you haven't got an Ambay Prime Panda Pop subscription.
Yeah.
And oh god, I want the Panda Pop now. I want those blue E numbers.
Blue one. Get the blue E numbers down here.
They turn my tongue blue and all.
An old school blue Smarties, the one that send the kids loopy.
The red Skittles for me used to make me go hyper.
I did though.
But yeah, I miss out on blue Panda Pops. Maybe I could recreate it.
See, that's what Violent J and Shaggy Two Dope should have been spraying on the crowds because they sprayed Pepsi apparently when they came over here because they couldn't import all the Faygo they wanted to. So, but they should have
Oh,
done
no.
Panda Pops instead, shouldn't they?
Oh, I would have definitely gone to like a Juggalo gathering if they were having Panda Pops.
Yeah,
Yeah, Panda Pops and atomic mounted cheese plastic.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't mind going backstage and have Jay cook me up some of his fabulous whatever the fuck with
Yeah,
added melted plastic.
yeah. You got to melt the cheese in the microwave for 15 minutes so it has that flavour.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I'm a bit like lost for ideas. I'm thinking there'd probably be resistance movements with people not really being violent, blowing up buildings or anything, just people saying no, I don't want to. And then I thought, like, it wouldn't be that interesting if they're not getting machine guns. So we're having places like Netherlands is going to be a real place in this game.
yeah.
The Dutch, because they are scum, they're just going to be like machine gunning their citizens, whilst the Dutch on the TV saying like, "Oh
Ambe
yes, we're
sounds
really."
like an Indian men's body spray. Yeah, that's exactly the vibe we're going for.
Mm. Um, so we like most places in this dystopic future in the world, they're all going to be like saying no. And then, like, the robots are going to be like, well, we respect.
Well, they're going to be
your
saying
decision.
no. People aren't going to be wearing masks, but the
Yeah.
government's still going to be insisting that this is actually a thing and it's really happening. And
It's
yeah,
really real, and you need to be scared
yeah,
all the time. And then some people, that's like, well, I want to be good, and the government's telling me to be scared. I'm going to be scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Whoa. And then other people's like, I'm not scared. And it's like, oh, you're not scared, are you? Well, off to the orange juice from concentrate camps.
yeah. Go and have a good think about what you've done. You've been a very naughty boy to society.
Yeah, you're supposed to be scared, or you're not scared enough. But
If you're not scared, you're not one of us. You're one of them.
I will have, just as a little, like, because I don't want to get the readers to be too complacent, I will have, like, the Dutch Ambe authorities machine gunning the Dutch citizens, whilst the Dutch media says, oh, we're really progressive and it's actually a good thing. This is a sign of how our democracy is healthy
Yeah.
because we can afford to machine gun our own citizens. It's not a crisis of democracy.
This actually proves that democracy is fine. You know, these people weren't being democratic. They were anti-democratic.
You see, it's probably a good thing that those Dutch got machine gunned because they were probably like protesting that it's a bad thing that our National Library has child pornography in it, which anybody can freely access. Because this speculative fiction, right, it would have child pornography in the Dutch National Library, and like you could get it on the subscription service because like I just really dislike the Dutch. Actually, can we not just talk about that? You can write the Dutch chapters. You can consult with me on like why are they scumbags?
Yeah, well, we already know.
Yeah, and it's not as if the nation of the Dutch can sue me because like who cares what they say?
Yeah.
But as for other things, we can't call it Versalife. We can't.
Well, they
call
do
it
have
fine.
quite a lot of litigious residents, shall we say?
Yeah, are they elves?
Yeah, the elves they have there.
The elves which live in that country, yeah. But that's okay. I'm not talking about the elves and their child pornography. But yeah, this speculative fiction, the graphene's touted as this wonder substance, and it's like it's going to replace asbestos, and it should be injected into people's muscles.
If it's going to replace asbestos, then there's definitely going to be no problem with it. Scientists will be bought off to say, "Yep, this is a-okay, thumbs up, tip top." What more do you want me to do to prove to you this is safe? We've got the studies. Where's your study? Where's your study proving that my study is wrong?
Oh yeah, Bigots. You're not published in the.
But you don't have you're not accredited. This is the other thing. Until you're accredited, you can't have an opinion in this dystopic society.
But the Pokemon Press got renamed Elsevier when Elsevier bought them up for $1 billion. But in our thing, we'll have to call them something that's not Elsevier. We're just going to have to call it the We can't call it the Ministry of Truth. That's to 1984. So we're going to have to be. So we're having this thing, right? All science in this world is bought up by a science journal. It pays all the scientists to write articles for it. And if you want to access any of the articles the scientists have published, you've got to pay like thousands of dollars. And usually only governments or universities ever pony up the cash to do it.
Wendigo. How about Wendigo? That's a good name.
Yeah, we'll call it the Wendigo Science Journal Publishing thing. And if your articles aren't published in Wendigo, like I'm going to write an article saying I don't think it's a good idea to be injecting people with graphene or asbestos. Like, well, you're not.
Or anything really. We should be trying not to inject people, and we should be encouraging people's immune systems to work properly.
Oh, here's the thing. So, speculative fiction aside, have you ever seen the Quars like to inject their testicles with saline solution?
Yeah, and die because that Polish weightlifter did, didn't he?
Yeah. They inject themselves with saline, and there's like, saline is salt water, but it's still dangerous and there's risks with it. So we'd have the speculative fiction where some people say, if you ask a hacker to hack the system, one of the Panda Pops they'll give you, it won't have any of the E numbers in it. They'll just give you like the salted caramel flavor one. You know? it's just fizzy saline solution, and you're drinking it, and it's like, but this is still, I'm drinking fizzy brine. It's nasty. So, like this idea, like,
apparently the journal subscriptions are already heading that way. You know, we're right. What did you say this was called? This type of dystopic fiction.
Well, this would be based
the near future. It's in a near future, isn't it?
Yeah, it started in the 1990s and like got like 2020 is when the things start happening where everybody's under house arrest because somebody sneezed once. Off license. If you listen to the Tuesdays episode, we talked about Pergamon Press, which is a real thing that Robert Maxwell did, which was bought by Elsevier, and this is why all science since 1991 has been for profit, and you can't access it unless you pay a subscription to this stuff. And if you try and like share this information out, you will get fucked hard, really, really hard. But this is the speculative fiction, so like you're drinking your Panda Pops and you're hoping that of all of the ones you get like the fizzy saline solution, but
the blue one.
It's still going to make you sick. You know, if you drink the blue one, then you probably will die. But if you drink like the clear saline solution one, you're just sort of grimacing. It's like, if I start vomiting, they're going to put me in the orange juice not from concentrate camp.
Yeah.
Because why would you? Yeah. I'm not saying the other thing. I mean, a lot of that's based on idiocracy because you got Brawndo in it, and everyone drinks Brawndo, and it's got electrolytes, what plants crave. So if you don't drink Brawndo, there must be something wrong with you. And you're probably like a dissident who needs to be put into the orange juice not from concentrate camps.
Yeah, well, you need to be put in the gladiator arena, don't you?
Yeah, but we can't call it Brawndo because Mike Judge already did that. So, yeah. And I think that's pretty good speculative fiction. So, that's pretty much the pitch. Again, it's sort of work in progress. I know there's like some major plot holes, like how can you convince everybody in the world to drink your Panda Pops when, like, a lot of people say, well, I'm concerned about the E numbers in Panda Pops. And what you basically do is you get Black Science Man and Brian Cox isn't mere
Professor isn't being conforming amazing.
Yeah, so you pay people like them, like like the Gary Lineker of our age.
Isn't being compliant amazing? There's more people that are compliant than there are grains of sand on a beach.
And that is really significant.
Yeah, so, remember, if you're not compliant, you're a weirdo.
So if you get Professor Brian Cox and you
Yeah.
get Gary Lineker and you get Black Science Man
Yeah.
and you get
Lady
who's that other
Gaga.
one?
Lady Gaga, you get her on
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
And you get Noel Fielding and you get them all
Yeah.
drinking the saline solution Panda Pops, and they're going, this tastes really good and it's got all the electrolytes I need.
Yeah.
I'm healthy because I drink Panda Pops. And I tell you what, you may say, oh, that's just so unpredictable, but I think in this world, right, artistic license.
You got to remember
here.
this
This
place
is
we're
fiction,
inventing is
right?
nothing like real life.
This is fiction. So artistic license, we would have some like celebrities who claim to be scientists saying that Panda Pops are safe for you.
And we'd say the Panda Pops, it's good for you. It's good for you. But it's the Panda Pops will stop you getting any diseases whatsoever. You'll live forever. But you go near anyone who hasn't drank Panda Pops
yeah, and just remember when you go into the shop buying your Panda Pops, you have to wear a mask because even though it'll keep you safe from them, you still have to wear a mask.
Yeah, even though you're immunised from this, other Panda Pops and non-Panda Pops drinkers can give you Panda Popsitis.
Yeah, because you don't know where they've been, and like they
might have a variant. They might have been to a different wet market.
Yeah, and maybe they drunk like off-brand Panda Pops. You know, you never know, or maybe they never drunk any Panda Pops whatsoever.
And they were just lying.
Yeah, they're just pretending. They got a hacker to like say, "Oh yeah, look at my receipt for all the Panda Pops. What I've been, and look at my eBayers on Prime subscription for Panda Pops. Yeah, I get the blue flavor. It's the best one, right? It's the most popular.
Ambe.
Yeah. My wife, no, she prefers cherry Panda Pops, but we mostly drink the blue one.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty.
But have you made yourself want some Panda Pops now? Have you?
This is the thing, right? People will say, "Oh, look, that's just that's so unplausible. It's just not believable." Right? Yeah, but what about all those other great bits of fiction which is unbelievable, like Harry Potter? I mean, there's no platform 9 3/4 at Paddington Station, but like people suspend disbelief and they watch it and they go, "Oh yeah, it's real," because he really believes in it.
And Star Wars: The Last Jedi, people actually believe some people believe that's actually a good film.
Some people believe it's part of the Star Wars franchise of films. Yeah.
Some people even believe that Kurtzman Trek is part of Star Trek.
Oh well, come on, that's just being a bit far fetched, mate. I mean,
yeah.
We're trying to give an
Space Jesus, Mikey Space Jesus, because she grew up around Vulcans, became one Spock.
We're trying to give examples of fictitious worlds where you suspend disbelief and then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Not like here's an example, like Demolition Man, right? Where you've got the verbal morality statute, so if you swear in public, you get fined, and red meat and smoking, alcohol, contact sports are all bad for you, hence illegal. So when you go to Taco Bell, you get your vegan pills, and you can't use bog roll anymore because that's bad for the environment. So you have to use the free seashells. Now, there's a world which to us is absurd, but you're able to suspend disbelief because the story is well told, and you go, "Oh yeah, that's believable." So I reckon this scenario, what we described, where you have to like drink Panda Pops once every 2 days, ideally every day.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you have to be put into the orange juice, not from concentrate camps.
Yeah.
Where you have to pay for the privilege of being there. But that's okay. You can work making Panda Pops there, and that can be your job. I think there would probably be a good thing. We could probably do a thing like people sort of think like the world's going crazy because why are we all drinking this obscure brand of artificial soda pop? And so a lot of people are just giving up their jobs because they're like, well, look, I don't even really like fizzy drinks. I like tea. I like drinking drinking a beer now and then. I don't really want Coca-Cola or Panda Pops.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have given up on work, and then the government's be like, "Oh well, nothing's getting to the shops, and the Panda Pops aren't getting to the shops because people aren't working." But that's okay. We'll put them into the not from concentrate.
Or we can get
camps.
more people in from another country who'll
Yeah.
drink Panda Pops.
Yeah, and then what you do is you put all the people that don't want to work in the not from concentrate camps. They make the Panda Pops, and that's how they deal with it. And then other people, of course, there'll be the religious nutters who say, "Well, this is an end times because in my religion it says these are the signs that come to the end." When people start drinking the blue Panda Pops, that is the mark of the beast. And nobody will be able to buy or sell unless it's for Panda Pops.
Mm.
And you may think, how much crack have you smoked before doing this show, Hobbit? And unfortunately, the answer for you is none. Because
have you seen? Do you know Beneath the Steel Sky, Hobbit? Is that something you know about?
Australia's become its depiction in Beneath the Steel Sky. Yeah. A funny thing about that, I remember there's this gardener, and you're talking with him, and you're asking the gardener, it's like, "Why are you spraying wax on those flowers? It won't be able to breathe." And he says, "Well, that's the idea. That way the pollution won't kill it."
Yeah. A bit like Logan's Run, isn't it? Like life's like, you can't go outside the dome. It's dangerous out there.
Yeah, because you might find people that live beyond the age of 21. That's one of the things in the films which,
Yeah, they changed it to 30 in the film, didn't they?
Yeah, because they understood whilst the Dutch audience are quite happy with like everyone dying at 21, meaning that all the orgies were with teenagers and children.
Yeah.
The American audience, it was pitched to like,
Yeah, I
"Mate,
don't like this.
You're going to get arrested for."
I might read the book actually. I quite like. A lot of people shit on Logan's Run, but I think it's a decent film.
Have you seen the authors of that book? I'm not saying judge. Actually, I am saying judge a book by its cover.
Judge a book by its author.
But no, there's two authors that wrote it.
All right, let's have a look. Fourth.
It's too bad most people consider Thai stuff crazy. I've been saying it for over a year. I've been waiting for others to catch up. Oh, this stuff.
Literally,
Yeah,
one of them looks like Gandalf, doesn't he?
And the other thing is, like, in this timeline, right, we'd say in 2018, if you're saying to people, look, it's going to become mandatory in most parts of the world to drink Panda Pops at least 4 times a week. And if you don't, you have to pay a fine. And if you don't do that, then you get put into a not from concentrate camp. People just go, well, that's crazy. And in the book, they say, well, that's crazy. That's absurd. Why would you? And then, like 2 years later, everybody's drinking Panda Pops, or at least they're pretending to drink Panda Pops. And some people are like, well, I've got to drink Panda Pops in front of my colleagues because at lunch we all go to the vending machine and get the Panda Pops. But I'm told if I hack into the system, I can get the fizzy saline solution Panda Pops, and that's going to not kill me as fast as the blue Panda Pops. Although it wouldn't kill you because it's for your health. But some people say it's not for your health.
Well, they're going to be encouraging carousel soon, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Which, it's like, oh, you're over the age of 21, time to carousel.
Yeah.
Carousel
well,
yourself.
they're doing it, aren't they? They're telling people not to breed, aren't they?
Yeah, and encouraging vasectomies and all that stuff. And we won't talk about the. I think we'll leave it for later because I think we're trying to like shoehorn too much stuff in. But
yeah, so you've got basically the writers look like one of them looks like Gandalf and the other one looks like a creepy version of what's his David Attenborough, doesn't he?
Well,
no, not David Attenborough. He's the one in Jurassic
the one who
Park.
looks like Gandalf to me looks like the Crypt Keeper.
Oh God, he does a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Creepy pair of bleeders there, aren't they?
Australia, nothing but overpopulated cities. Australian courts are basically game shows of buzzers and the unions, corporation intelligence. I need to get my good friend Fremen on the Sand to play Beneath the Steel Sky, because there's literally what Bear Race just described there, where you're in the court scene and you're being all serious and stuff, trying to defend someone, and then you find it's like a fucking game show, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or Who Wants Life in Prison. it's
Huh.
it's crazy. And now for 1 year, and then you start off at life from prison, and then like the winning, like, the $1 million question is like, and now for getting off on all charges, and then see, so what, year, and then you're doing like 20 years mandatory, then parole, 16 years for working your way down till you get like 1 year.
It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame it's current year, because Logan's Run could do with a remake, couldn't it?
Can you imagine? How would they do? I always thought, how would they do like a homicidal, homosexual pederast like Baron Vladimir Harkonnen?
Yeah.
They just gloss over the fact that he's gay.
Yeah.
He's evil.
Yeah.
They just gloss over the fact that he's gay, and he likes raping boys to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't do that in the sci-fi series. In the sci-fi series, they actually show a very important scene from the book where Baron Vladimir Harkonnen is very angry that Paul Atreides got away because he wanted to rape him to death. So they get a slave, what looks like Paul Atreides, but his nephew, Phaedra Alpha, has a poison needle inserted in his thigh because he knows his uncle's touchy-feeling. So he just assumed, he'd start feeling up the boy's thighs and squeeze them and then get a pinprick of poison and die. And then the Baron gets very cross with his nephew because it's like, you're trying to assassinate me again. Don't do it. Naughty. And he never gets assassinated by his own family in that. But spoilers if you haven't seen Dune. I was going to say, I'm not sure about throwing this bit into this speculative crap dystopia we're working on, but what if, like, there's speculation that drinking the Panda Pops actually renders people infertile? Because the E-numbers will poison your gonads.
I don't really need to render you infertile. Capitalism's already doing that, isn't it?
Well, that's the bit where I thought it was a bit like overblown, like rubbing salted
Exile Bear
caramel.
says, "Aren't we already living in Logan's Run?" Is the Panda Pops? Is that Carousel? Is it Hobbit? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if we've been engaged in teenage sex, then I suppose we were engaged in a form of Logan's Run. So I guess But
yeah, By Ray says, even though him being gay was an important plot point that involved an assassination, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's like him being gay is really important, and in the modern film they glossed over it. So I'm just thinking, how would they do Logan's Run in current?
Isn't that a little bit bigoted not putting that in?
Well, I thought it was bigoted. I thought they didn't do justice to a proud, unabashed gay character, and
that's very bigoted, not showing Harkonnen for what he is.
Yeah, as we say on the Tuesday show, we're Pink News respecters, and we were hoping to see an article on it talking about how brave its portrayal of Baron Vladimir Harkonnen was, but Pink News hasn't done that article yet. Maybe I should write it for them. Yeah. So I'm out of ideas for the moment. Audience, what do you think? Is it a bit too far-fetched? I mean, bear in mind, I've given you some examples of other far-fetched, like Demolition Man. It is far-fetched sci-fi, but I quite like it. And you could say, well, there's some parallels, because all good fiction has got like a glimmer of truth in it. And I think Demolition Man has got a lot of glimmers of truth in it. We're not really talking... Actually, have we done the dope movies and shows on Demolition Man?
No, we haven't.
I'm not sure if we have or not.
I don't think we have.
We have?
No, I don't think we have.
Oh, well, in that case, like, Demolition Man should be a dope movies and shows, because...
Yeah, I think we need to get onto that so I can get some more done, don't we?
Yeah. Imagine thinking Taco Bell would win the franchise wars. Demolition Man had the Schwarzenegger presidential library when the 21st Amendment was ratified.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of jokes, but there's a lot of banter, isn't there, between Stallone and thingy, isn't there? Because Last Action Hero, Stallone's in Terminator, isn't he?
Yeah, because in that universe, Schwarzenegger was not an actor; he was just a guy.
Yeah, he is an actor. He is an actor. It's because Schwarzenegger's what's his name, Jack Slade.
Well, that's it. They're an alternative timeline where Schwarzenegger's not been the Terminator.
Yeah, because he's Jack Slade, isn't he?
Yeah, that's Jack Slane.
It's Jack Slade, isn't it? I think his name is.
Oh, okay. Jack Slane would have been like McBain. It's just
No, it's Slade as Slade, Slade.
Yeah. But I do find it funny. You see, Demolition Man, far flung. Like watching it in 1993, you just go, "God, this is a bit far fetched, isn't it? Look at them eating their soy food,
not allowed to say anything, getting punished for saying wrong for doing wrong thing.
You're not allowed to smoke anywhere. Imagine not going to but you can't drink in bars, yet alone smoke in them. You can't swear when you say, "What do you mean I can't have a?"
It's preposterous. That would never happen, Hobbit.
Yeah, it's absolutely preposterous. And what Arnold Schwarzenegger, the actor, that the muscles from Brussels, being the president of the United States, he's not even an American-born citizen.
A lot of people think he might be the first ever foreign president. Sorry.
Blade Runner is what would happen if Atari ascended instead of Microsoft. Demolition Man is basically California today. Yeah, the problem is, if you look at Demolition Man, you've got your despite being like 1% of the population there, he's responsible for 100% of the crimes with Simon Phoenix.
Yeah,
and apart from that, you got a couple of Mexicans living in the sewers, but everyone's white.
Yeah,
they're all white and they're happy, and because they're in the 90s and they don't understand.
And they're all white.
Yeah. They don't understand how shit. I mean, Sandra Bullock in that film is so happy, joy. It's so saccharine sweet. It's just such a good juxtaposition. It's I watched that film a few weeks ago, so I mean, it's a bit too soon to watch it again, but I really like that film. There's just, I know it's trying to show dystopia.
If Phoenix was defrosted, I'd be on his side.
It's like it's trying to show like a dystopia, but it's so twee and nice and just happy, and it's so
but isn't like Sandra Bullock's character like so innocent, isn't she?
I just like the fact that the police, when they're encountering a violent criminal, they don't know what to do, so they're just asking their iPad. The criminal has responded with, no, they don't even call him criminal. They call him saying distressed individual, some euphemistic term. The distressed individual has responded with a hurtful remark. In a louder tone of voice, repeat the ultimatum, but say or else. Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands behind your head or else. Bay Ray says she's neurotic, not innocent. Well, she is naive, and she is neurotic because she's got Funko Pops didn't exist then, but she had like loads of like 20th century stuff and was a nerd for collecting 20th century.
She was a historian, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's it.
That's how she knows about Sylvester Stallone's character, isn't it?
Yeah, and then just like when Rob Schneider goes into the office, says to her, "Is there anything in this office which doesn't contravene health and safety law?" And she sort of smiles at him and just goes, "Only you, Rob Schneider." And he sort of laughs. They're both being politically correct. And again, if you're wondering why we've sort of veered off this crap dystopia, right? I'm just trying to think. Well, this is how I'd inject humor into the situation.
Well, the problem is if you really want to go put a dampener on it, the only science fiction film I can see that comes close to where we are and where we're heading is Soylent Green. That's like the real black bell in all of this, isn't it?
I can't believe it's not meat is people.
Yeah. Soylent Green is people. Poor little, yeah, his poor little rabbi friend, didn't he?
Yeah. And that was it. The rabbi gassed himself because he's like, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to the suicide booth.
Yeah.
And they did a nice little story, and he's there getting all suicide, and he's smiling and happy because he's like,
But I can see the future generations accepting that kind of a drop in standards, because look at the drop in standards that we've accepted from our parents' era.
Very true. I just want to say, like, we're talking about dystopic things like that will never happen, right?
Yeah.
Brazil. Now, imagine in the film, like in Brazil, right, where you've been sanctioned for death, but actually no.
Well, isn't James Fields living in the current day version of Brazil?
Yeah. But you've been sanctioned for death, but actually no, it's not death because there's a typo. But trying to show that the Office of Inland Revenue is trying to kill you and they've made a mistake is in fact a capital offence. Right, get this right. In my dystopia, let's call the country let's call it the Alemanni land, where the Krauts, people who eat sauerkraut and wear lederhosen, live. So just some fictitious place where that sort of people would live, right? They have euthanasia clinics, but if you refuse to drink Panda Pops, they won't euthanize you. Did you know about this?
No.
So in this, I'll tell you off the air, like, but in this Central European country with the lederhosen and the sauerkraut, if you are uncarbonated with Panda Pops, then you will be refused a euthanasia appointment. So you can't be killed until you drink the Panda Pops.
Fucking hell.
But I know they say it's for your safety and all that stuff, but
well, isn't that just like kamikaze pilots wearing helmets?
Yeah, it's like, mate, I'm literally
safety first.
I'm literally here for an appointment to die. Yeah, well, you're not doing.
I want to check out. You're not checking out unless you check out our way.
Yeah, you got to drink a Panda Pop before you can pop out of life.
Oh dear! Do you remember Suicidal Sid from Viz? That was a funny character.
I can't keep a straight face in this because it's just
it's Brazil levels of bureaucracy, isn't it?
It's like, sorry, you can't have state-sanctioned suicide until you have this health serum.
Yeah,
you got to drink it. You got to drink all of it.
Because if you don't drink it, you might catch the Panda Pops.
Yeah, you might get the grey death from Corona lemonade from the Wan Chai wet market.
Yeah, and if you do that, you'll die, and we can't have that.
And so they got some people acquiesce and like, oh, right, okay, just give us one of the blue ones. I'll drink one of those. Like, whoa, what do you think you're doing, mate? There's a backlog here. You got to drink at least 700 of these before we even consider you for euthanasia. So, but if I drink 700 of those in one go, I'll die. Well, do you have any citations? Do you have any verified evidence to say that? That sounds like an unfounded conspiracy theory. Looks like you're going to get put to the not from concentrate camp.
Yeah. But we're going to make you sit and concentrate until you realise what you've done.
I can't write this. I mean, I know if I had like some Channel 4 writers and stuff or BBC, they'd write a proper gritty British drama, but I couldn't write it without cracking up and making some jokes because it just. I mean, it's pretty much like Brazil levels of absurd. Or
do you remember that? Speaking of bizarre cities, do you remember that sitcom that Mike from The Young Ones was in, where everyone was sorted out like short people were like they were like they were like second class citizens. Did you ever see that series?
what the man lit underclass.
Yeah. So and
Hobbit
yeah.
dries up.
So
but
all the
not
short
too much.
people, all the manlets had to all live together, and they were like live like second class citizens.
Yeah, live in their little Hobbiton in the Shire. Oh man, I tell you what.
Someone just told me that vaccines in the UK are going to be made mandatory. Boris is still quite a way off actually doing that. He's kind of shitting himself about it, isn't he? Hobbit.
Wow, you know the Panda Pops. It is mandatory to, but the thing is, you may as well have a Panda Pop because everyone's got a drink, right? Everyone wants to be healthy, so why not get two birds stoned at once? You drink your Panda Pop, you're refreshed, and now you're healthy.
And if you do die because of the Panda Pop, it would have been worse if you hadn't had the Panda Pop.
Yeah, you're deaf. You should be grateful you had the Panda Pop because just remember in Lederhosen sauerkraut country, name still pending. If you don't have the Panda Pops, then you can't be euthanized because that's. I mean, some people might just be going, yeah, but that sounds like Douglas Adams. You're trying to do a Douglas Adams, aren't you? Where like Earth section for demolition for the new bypass, and it's like well, you should have read about. We posted a bulletin on Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
And if you didn't complain, then it's not our fault.
Yeah,
it's just, it's oh boy. I'm trying to make this like a dystopia, and but I can't help but laughing. I just think there's something very there's like an element of black humor to all of this stuff. It's very
it's just like insane, isn't it? It's like the
crap.
It's like the crappiest elements of like 1984 and everything, isn't it?
Well, it's like when I tried describing this to like Capstan or one of my other mates, they'd just be like, "Are you on smoking crack?" And I was like, "Mate, don't actually do drugs."
Yeah.
But they just like, it does sound like the ramblings of an insane madman, and I don't believe it. And I was like, yeah, but I think it'll be really good. And again, I'm using that citation of Demolition Man. That was really good. And that didn't seem plausible, but hey,
it's funny. The other dystopic fiction that kind of you can well imagine is RoboCop is the other one, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think are what do you think are like realistic dystopic fictions? And so we've said Soylent Green and RoboCop go into Room 101. Let's go full 1984 cliche, shall we? Clockwork Orange with the violent teenagers. That's quite a good shout, Biaki.
I think Brave New World with the mass drugging of people to keep them happy. That's another thing.
Well, I believe. I mean, I have no evidence for it, and nobody's ever talked about it. But I believe that council estates are awash with weed to keep the people docile. I
don't. People that do weed, they basically just quite happy to sit in their chair and eat pizza and.
Well, they become documentary channel scientists, don't they? Bedsit weed scientists, don't they?
They're not really, they're sort of contempt. As Frankie Boyle said, cannabis exists for a reason, and that is to survive through daytime television.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, isn't it's Wall-E to an extent is kind of dystopic, isn't it?
Yeah, well, are you familiar with that fat bastard Nick Avocado?
No.
So he was vegan. He's a faggot like Baron Vladimir Harkonnen.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to stop being vegan. I'm going to eat a whole bunch of food." He calls it mukbang. Yeah. And he was very skinny. He's now morbidly obese. He shits himself because he's morbidly actually that might be his pastime.
Yeah.
And he's so fat that the fat from his gut pushed up and it's cracked his ribs. So
Oh,
he now has to sleep with a CPAP machine to keep respiration for him.
fucking hell.
Now, he is real life Wally because he's like fat and happy, but he's insane.
Yeah.
And he's real life, by the way. This isn't fiction. Nick Advocado is a real man. And he just goes around in his scooter in the shops, and he's disgusting, and I hate him. And
So why did he get fat? Or how did he get fat? Why did he get fat?
Like imagine like an entire table filled with noodles and cheese, and he'll eat that in one sitting.
Oh, okay then.
And then he'll
Off
eat,
license
like,
said I found Downton Abbey dystopian.
this is a local town for local people. Yeah, my mum was saying I'd like Downton Abbey. I've never watched it. Is it like Sense and Sensibility?
Biaki said he's seen, I don't know who we could be talking about, but he said, this is the correct chat for this subject, fella. Seen a hominid creature in Salford navigating the actual city streets at night.
Yeah.
I think he was listening to It's Raining Men as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he now this hominid creature, because he's not human, would engage in what might be described as homosexual congress. However, because he's not human, it's not gay, you see, because it's an act of dominance.
Yeah. That's obvious dystopia.
God, it is, isn't it? Oh. But, shit, it's 9 o'clock. I suppose
he wasn't talking about who we were talking about. He was talking about something else.
Oh, right, okay. I was just thinking of, like, you know, the letter spotted rape ape, but
yeah.
never mind.
I thought you were talking about the grape ape.
Moving swiftly on, it's 9 o'clock. We're in extra time now. Shall we do a bit of unexplained histories?
Yeah, I think Biaki said he's going to hop on.
Do you want to hop on, Biaki, and talk about stuff? No, you will wait. Wait for it. He's going to come on another day, I assume, then.
Oh, is he?
No, he can't hop on. Right.
Oh, I thought you said, hang on, I'm going to hop on.
It must mean another day. Let's do some unexplained mysteries. I like that site.
Yeah, let's...
Unexplained mysteries. Hey, talk about thumbing a softie. I think we picked up speed halfway.
I think we did all right, didn't we?
Yeah. Could Tanzania footprints really be those of a new species of human? Tanzania.
Yeah.
I think I've
It's an African country.
I think I've seen that creature in Brixton. Or was it Birmingham?
Oh, absurd conspiracy theory claims the Roman Empire is a hoax.
Have you seen the one?
I think we're gonna have to ask. I bet. I wonder if Fraser knows about this one.
Fraser, I want to come on and talk with me about Rome and the Ninth Legion and the Roman forts in the Mississippi River, and how Rome may have been in the United States, North America since antiquity times.
Is that what you're doing next week then?
Well, I did briefly talk about the subject of, hey, Michigan copper was traded by the Phoenicians more than 2,000 years ago. What's up with that? And unlike radiocarbon dating, metallurgical forensic analysis is very precise because, like, you can identify which mine somewhere comes in the world on the metal spectrum. There's like traces of other minerals in each of the ores. And Michigan copper is, unless somebody says, oh, actually this mine in Australia is purer, as far as I know, the copper from Michigan is the purest known.
Yeah.
You still have to refine it, but like you don't have to do much.
Oh, how about this? This sounds good. Sound like a son. UFO death-riddled cop was hounded by government agent. When British policeman Alan Godfrey encountered a UFO 41 years ago, it would change his life forever. Around 5 a.m. on November the 28th, 1980, Todmorden Constable Alan Godfrey had been nearing at the end of his shift and had been investigating reports of cattle on the estate when he witnessed a large diamond-shaped object hovering just above the road just ahead of him. Estimating the unidentified craft to be approximately 20 foot high and 14 across, he attempted to radio for assistance, but found to his horror his equipment was no longer functioning. Before he knew it, the object had disappeared and he found himself 30 yards down the road, having experienced a period of around 25 minutes of missing time that he could not account for. It is what followed the account, however, that would cement Godfrey's place in the UFO history books. Around 6 months later, he was tasked with investigating the death of a missing man, Zygmunt Adamski, whose body had been found in a Todmorden coal yard. It wasn't long before the media had linked the man's death with Godfrey's UFO counter, and the rest, they say, is history. Godfrey quickly became a household name and has since spent several decades talking and writing about his experiences. During a recent interview, he recalled that the case had attracted the attention of senior officers and a mysterious individual who he believed was some sort of government agent. I was ordered under the Official Secrets Act not to disclose anything to the media about Adamski or my own encounter, he said. The stress of the whole thing ultimately ended his career with the police. It wrecked me. It completely changed me. I ended up drinking a bottle of whiskey every single day. I bet he experienced some more time slips, didn't he? Ended up drinking a bottle of whiskey every single day. I was nearly alcoholic. He was nearly an alcoholic. He was drinking a bottle of whiskey. He was drinking a bottle of whiskey every day, but he was nearly He wasn't an alcoholic. He was nearly one.
Case, isn't it? You know,
Yeah. I think a bottle and a half of whiskey is alcoholic. Bottle of whiskey is okay, is it, Hobbit?
That's it. It's that extra half pint where you're in problem territory.
Yeah. Or is it just anything over a single bottle of whiskey a day?
Well, you know.
I don't know. I don't get how you can be nearly an alcoholic with a bottle of whiskey a day.
If you're telling me a bottle of whiskey and then one shandy bass after that, now you're in alcoholic territory. Yeah. But if you're to abstain from the shandy bass, you're all right.
It's bottle of whiskey. If you have a cherry cider, that's it. You're an alcoholic. But a bottle of whiskey, stop it there.
If you were to have like 9/10 of that whiskey and the shandy bass, you're all right.
Yeah, not alcoholic.
Yeah.
So to this day, he blames much of this on being silenced by the government. They've released all the UFOs files the MOD. They've never released mine, he said. That's very weird, isn't
it? Do you think like part of the reason that they're doing this disclosure stuff is like if we release all this information, it looks like we're being like open and truthful and stuff, but actually what we can say is that oh look, we released all this information. We're definitely not hiding anything else. We're not hiding.
Well, I think they do it. I think they do it indiscriminately, so you never quite know what's misinfo, what's disinfo, what's straight up bullshit.
Well, and then occasionally, like interesting things get released, but you don't get to hear of them. Like all the weird cases of those animals being exsanguinated, where we had to do a 3-part special about it because it's like, sorry guys, we can't cover this all in the time we got, so we're going to do another episode. Oh, it turns out another 2 hours is enough to cover. We'll try and wrap it up in the 3rd episode. That was a good one. That what was it? What was that episode called? Those trio of episodes called? Maybe someone in the chat knows what I'm about.
Yeah. Well, I think we did UFOs. I think we did UFOs, cattle mutilations. Didn't we do 2 cattle mutilations and 1 UFO episode?
Wasn't it called like the Triangle Forest Zone between Wales, Yorkshire, and
no, I don't think we did that. I think it was just straight up cattle mutilations, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but I think there's like saying about mentioning like here's a weird like triangle of British Isles, and I think Shropshire. I want to say Rendlesham Forest, but Rendlesham Forest is another thing. Yeah, it's not in Shropshire, is it? There's a forest in
Rendlesham Forest is RAF Woodbridge, which is Suffolk, I think.
Oh well, that's southern England, so
yeah,
that's not what I talk about. But What I'm trying to say there is occasionally there's like interesting things which slip under the radar, and then you just get a whole lot of dross, like, here's another boring UFO
Fucking hell.
footage.
Have you seen this, what they're saying in chat? Did you see the Russia accuse a former astronaut to the station of sabotage to the... You know this story?
When we're discussing this story, she had a blobby strop or something, so she deliberately sabotaged the station so she gets to use the escape capsule.
Yeah, she drilled holes to cause a leak because she wanted to go home.
Oh, apparently, you know what they're saying the reason she had a strop was? Unrequited love. She fancied one of the crewmates who rebuffed her, and then she just, like, there's no way she can really escape in the station, so...
And then there was the other woman who committed the first crime in space. She hacked into her ex's bank account, didn't she?
There's a lot of stuff about UFOs.
You seen the weird Chinese goose that lays eggs with black yolks?
I'd rather not. Is that a graphene oxide thing?
Fuck, no, it's just some weird fucking pollution thing, isn't it?
Is it? Well,
his postings have received a variety of comments from other users, some suggesting the goose may have been feeding on black mulberries, which are known to boost melanin production. Oh yeah, that'll be it. It'll be the black mulberries.
Give us them black mulberries, bitch.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
I thought you only got melanin from killing black people, didn't you? Do you remember that tweet?
They be harvesting the adrenochrome from blacks. Do you want to I found a story here which says, why are conspiracies thriving in the pandemic? And this is unexplainedmysteries.com, and they're doing an article like this. I think it's worth reading a bit of it, and then if I give up, then I give up.
Yeah, I think you will give up.
So the corona
Magical Elf says Chinese will still eat them eggs. Yeah, they'll eat them. Oh, they're magic eggs. They'll give you a boner because they're black.
Boners and baldness, they'll cure them both, right?
Boners, baldness, the lot.
So the Corona lemonade pandemic has seen the proliferation of several flavors of Panda Pop, often damaging conspiracy theories. Rob Dacombe, director of the Brian Cook fan club.
By Ray says, I think he's trying to bury the lead here, but he says, I wonder why they're thriving in the single greatest power grab in history.
Yeah, it's like
it's weird. I don't know. It's strange.
It's a bit of a head scratcher, that one. It really is.
Yeah.
But so Rob Dacombe, head of the Brian.
So it's got nothing to do with the fact that people are at home and they're just searching the internet for fucking new stuff. It's nothing to do with that.
Rob Dacombe, director of the Brian Cox Snopes fan club. British politics and government at King's College London, explores why the current situation produced such an uptick in conspiratorial thinking. We've all seen them, those posts shared by friends of friends on Facebook. Hey, I know that person, he's me. That jaw-dropping tweet, you can scarcely... Has there ever been a time in life where your jaw has dropped? I think there's been a time once...
Only when I got my new Switch.
Okay. There was a time once in my life, I'm not going to describe it, but when I saw it, I was shocked and my mouth was agape.
Yeah, it's not because you read something online, is it?
No. But anyway, so the hyperbolic thing they say about tweets, and you can't believe it wasn't immediately to be... Why is this website Unexplained Mysteries doing an article like this? This is very presumptuous.
Weird. It's weird, isn't it? And then they go weird. The other one, they go weird conspiracy theory about Rome. You find the Fortean Times is a bit like this. It swings a bit left.
I find this very tone deaf. I find a website which is about unexplained mysteries, and you're shitting on me for having some conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
is you're not. If I was to have an article called Beef Eaters Weekly, all about roast beef, fried steaks.
Oh fucking hell! It's just shit on female astronauts in the chat. OG says. You'll hear of the female astronaut who drove from Houston to Cali wearing adult diapers and not stopping so she could confront her husband.
Yeah, no, I heard about that. She was wearing the nappies so that she didn't have to stop to wee. She could just like
Yeah.
do it whilst driving, and because she wanted to stalk her ex-husband.
Oh fucking hell! Is she the same one that tried to hack into his bank account? Is that the same one? Is it?
Be a different story. I don't remember that one, but I do
Oh.
remember the driving whilst wearing nappies.
Holy
and
shit!
Like,
Mega Spider is so large it can bite through fingernails.
I want to carry on with this
Go on, then.
tone-deaf article here. It'd be
Yeah.
like me writing an article in Beefeaters magazine about why you should be trying meat-free alternatives. No,
That does happen.
No.
I should imagine that does happen. What, Steak Magazine?
Barbecue Monthly or something.
Yeah. Barbecue Monthly. Why you should barbecue veg on you.
Yeah, why portobello mushrooms are better than burgers. Alongside social
What
distancing.
the fuck? Are they all lunatics in space? OG, check out the suicidal astronaut on the shuttle story. He threatened to open the door because his experiment failed. NASA put locks on the hatch afterwards.
Fuck me. So, conspiracy.
No wonder they kill them all in mysterious accidents. They're all fucking nuts.
Conspiracy theories are distinct from other forms of misinformation and falsehood. They are particular ways in which we make sense of the complex and sometimes disturbing world around us. They have also long been seen as a particularly political phenomenon. The American historian Richard Hofstadter, very American name there, famously
It sounds
referred
like he
to
could be German or Russian, doesn't it?
It sounds like he could be an elf.
Yeah.
Referred to such ideas as underpinning a paranoid style of political thinking, replete with heated exaggeration, suspiciousness, and conspiratorial fantasy. A more recent understanding of their importance can be found in the work of political theorist Alfred Moore, who suggests they are a means of explaining events or phenomena in a way that is unwarranted, implausible, or even dangerous, invoking ever and deeper conspiracies and discounting all contradictory evidence. In my work, I argue that over recent years we have seen the emergence of distinct forms of conspiracy theory driven by structural changes in the way we communicate about politics. In order to understand the phenomena, we need to think of conspiracy theories as part of a significant shift in the ways political participation happens in contemporary democracies. They're saying it's filling a void and facing facts. It's a coping mechanism because you can't deal with reality. Professor Brian Cox.
I just can't even into reality.
Yeah, you can't accept that Professor Brian Cox has got your best interest at heart, and you need to drink the Panda Pops.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to say, if you're affected by any of the issues discussed tonight, you can contact BBC Watchdog, PO Box.
This is an issue. A mega spider is so large it can bite through fingernails. It's a funnel web. In the 30 plus years at the park, I've never seen a funnel web spider this big. Says Michael Tate.
Just as a brief aside, this isn't the first article on Explained Histories have done, right? There's another one, related stories. Study debunks conspiracy theorist stereotypes.
Yeah, they don't like conspiracy theories, but they do like telling you that UFOs exist.
They don't like conspiracy theories on unexplainedmysteries.com.
Yeah. Fucking hell. So it's 8 centimeters across. Yeah. The spider is particularly unusual because funnel webs usually only grow to a maximum of 5 centimeters.
So what's causing that? Global warming?
Yeah, climate change.
Oh, sorry. I haven't updated my lexicon.
This is quite a good one. Investigator claims to have evidence of Cannock Chase Bigfoot. I want to do an episode on Cannock Chase. Is really weird. There's loads of ghosts. I think there's even a werewolf there. It's a very, very strange place.
Oh, the chat are speculating about space madness. One of the worst things about space is no sense of taste or smell. Your sinuses fill up. It's like you've got a constant cold.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like Heston Blumenthal did an episode about making food for astronauts and explaining the difficulties of tasting when your sinus is blocked up, and you're not allowed to use salt because the ESA and NASA are very strict on what can be sent up to space.
So this geezer says, I've got an anonymous email from a man saying he'd been flying a remote control plane over Gentle Shore Common at Cannock Chase, who said he'd seen something unusual. With his description of the location, went out there straight away, found the footprint. I was astounded, never seen a footprint that large in my life, and it was clearly not made using a mould or cast. I realised the Cannock Chase Bigfoot was more than just a myth. During his investigations, Brickley has also found what he described as claw marks on a tree near to a dead deer that he said has been killed by some sort of carnivorous animal. What he has even seen, what he thinks is he has even seen what he thinks was the creature itself on one occasion. It definitely moved more like an animal than a man, and it was easily 7 feet tall, he said. Tried to run after it, but it was too quick and disappeared into a dense section of trees. What the fuck? Would you run straight at a fucking 7 foot tall Bigfoot?
Oh, I mean, the first like reasonable response when you see one of these strange like creatures,
Go and catch it.
Face off, is to try and have sex with it, right? Like, hey, look, it's a skinwalker. I'm just gonna like fuck that bitch.
Kayaker claims to have photographed a half man, half dog creature.
Hang on. No, sorry, I'm thinking of the band called Half Man, Half Biscuit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm John Peel 90s posting now.
Yeah. It's I like. Do you remember that game you used to play where you'd pick out a random sentence, something that sounded really random, and you go, "Yeah, that'd be a good name for a band."
Yeah. Badly drawn boy with the Arab strap, Jesus and Mary chain, half man, half biscuit, add into X, Boards of Canada, Plone, Plock, Square Pusher,
Lawnmower Death.
Napalm Enema.
Napalm Enema is actually a band.
Impaled Nazarene. There's Anal Cunt, that's a band.
One of your favourite. Do you remember you used to do your anal cunt readings when you were allowed on the YouTube?
I should ask my good friend Fremon on the Sand if he's willing to host the anal cunt readings. Might have to do some new music for it because the classical music gets copyright striked. Oh, here's an interesting story, and then you can decide to wrap it up after this.
Yeah,
never before seen mineral found trapped inside diamond. It's holocaustium. The bowels of our planet hold many new types of minerals. Implying the planet is like.
Put your thumb up his ass, as Byray says.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna put my thumb up its ass. From South, that's a funny episode of South Park. Like the man from the past. I'm only from 1996.
It's only in death do I find out Steve Irwin was actually an all right guy. I mean, yes, he liked to jam his thumb up the arse of many animals, but he had, he did it because it was funny.
Holy shit! How about this then? No, OG, you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting killed climbing K2. A 1 in 25 is if you're an astronaut.
Yeah,
I think we need to do an episode on that, like the many mysterious deaths of astronauts.
The safety record on solid fuel rockets is the problem with solid fuel is once it gets going, you can't turn it off. It's a bit like a Tesla fire. It just
you know what Walrus and NASA have got in common, don't you?
What's that?
They're both looking for a tighter seal.
Oh no! Oh. So anyway, the bowels of our planet are many.
The NASA cocktail, don't you? It's 7 Up with a splash of teachers.
That's it. Yeah. NASA stands for need another 7 astronauts.
Yeah.
Diamond minerals, including some long thought to exist, but has never actually been seen directly due to the fact they only form deep down in high temperature, high pressure conditions of the Earth's mantle. One such example is Dave Mayoite.
Are they making this shit up?
Dave Mayoite. It is spelled
Simon Mayoite.
It's spelled Dave Mayoite. Yeah, Dave Mayoite. Yeah, it's a type of high pressure calcium silicate perovskite that has never been seen on the surface because it is incapable of forming beyond the planet's interior. Now, however, scientists have for the first time identified an actual piece of Dave Mayoite, Simon Mayoite, trapped inside a diamond that formed...
Do you remember the confession? Are you old enough to remember Confessions on Radio 1, Hobbit?
I've seen the Confessions of a Window Cleaner and other...
No, Simon Mayo used to do the Confessions on Radio 1, so like someone would write in with like some horrific story they've done to a family member or friend, and they'd ask for forgiveness from Father Mayo. So like one of them was this was like years ago. This guy was younger, and the firm he used to work for, this was like just after indicator lights came in. But he said the bloke used to hold his arm out while he was signalling. So one day the bloke was in the guy writing in was in a hire van, and he gave this bloke a high five and completely shattered his arm and shoulder.
Oh.
But because it was a hire van, the bloke had no idea who it was, so he got away with it, and he was asking for forgiveness for it.
Oh God! Ouch!
Yeah.
So they've identified this mineral of Simon Mayoite trapped inside a diamond that formed 410 miles beneath the Earth.
I've actually got the book that goes with Confessions. I might read a confession out on Tuesday.
Oh, that'll be good. Formed beneath the Earth before making its way to the surface in Botswana, where it was collected and sent for scientific analysis. To identify the tiny sample of Simon Mayo tonight trapped inside, scientists use a technique known as we got these cool machines, which focuses high energy beams of X-rays on certain points. The new mineral, which is thought to have played an important role in Radio 1 in the 1990s, is now officially recognised by the International Mineralogical Association. It makes some really good hard rock. The work by the science team inspires hope in the discovery of other difficult high-pressure phases in nature, said geophysicist Ying Wang Fi.
Off license. If you want to come on, you can.
Yeah.
If you want to do an episode on it, sounds like you know your shit.
Well, altitude drunkenness would be a good topic to talk about, because I was looking in like how they make airline foods taste different, because it's equivalent to being.
We're always up for shitting on NASA, aren't we, Hobbit?
Well, yeah, that too. But I'm told airline food has to be like, because people's sense of taste is not as good on the plane. Because
have you read this one about Crazy Bitch claims to have proof she was abducted by aliens?
Oh no.
I'll just give you the upshot. As for evidence, mate, Shearer maintains that an ultrasound scan will reveal ovarian scarring from where the aliens removed their eggs.
Right.
That's just that's like the headline. So I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah. I like, thanks for listening, and remember everything we said tonight, work of fiction. So. Don't sue us. Amazon, Deus Ex, Panda Pops, and anything else we've mentioned, which may sound like real life, which it's not, because it's not. This is a a thing we're going to do.
A work of fiction.
We're going to make hundreds of thousands of pounds on this. We're going to get a BAFTA award for this.
Yeah. Night all.
Yeah.
Stay spooky. Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Stay. No,
should I do in this voice? Stay spooky.